Welcome back to Filmworx. Fantastic. Listen, this episode is a bit more of a solo ride, and the reason for the solo ride really is to share with you what I wish I knew years ago when I started as a professional content creator. Now, the big statement here is that content creation has been democratized. What I mean by that is, now years ago, this whole industry is built on film, right? And there would be no way in my life that I would be able to access this industry if everything was still film. It was only for the select few. You had to know some aunt and uncle that had someone in the industry just to get in. Luckily, I was part of the version where the tapes started coming out, or the tapes were able to be digitized, and then we moved over to SD cards. Everything became digital, and now we are with phones, and the device of content creation is right there in your hand. The only thing lacking is action. Everything that you need now to create content, to offer content as a service, is now in your hand. Right through from filming to your editing package. Now, I remember back in the day when I started doing this company, I didn't have any content to show. I didn't even have the skills to show whether I was able to do my job, because the IP of this content was owned by the company that I worked with. And so eventually, when I finally convinced the clients that I can do what I offered and said I would do, I purchased my first camera with a deposit that company paid for. Now, that camera, I studied in depth. I knew what the limitations were, how to get the best out of that camera, to eventually use that camera even for television shoots and so much more. Building an archive of tons of gear just by trading second-hand, upgrading from one camera to the other, just by making sure that I'm constantly reinvesting in myself, reinvesting in the gear, learning on new YouTube channels, current YouTube channels, old YouTube channels, how to best offer my services in this industry. I love what I do, and it's even more a pleasure to be able to work with people that are like mine and also love what they do and constantly challenge me creatively to say, hey, what about this? Or what about that? We can always offer our services to make sure that our clients' brands improve. So what is it that we as creatives actually offer the market? Why do people actually get us in? And if we understand what that is, then we can better position ourselves to say, hey, this is what we offer. And we can use our talents and our cameras or our design software to bring you from A to B. But first we need to understand what B is. So often I find that creatives just come in here and tell us how amazing they are and how they can offer this and offer that and how they just have this beautiful shots that they want to do. But the reality is the client really just needs content that communicates a very, very clear and specific message and needs to have a certain call of action from the viewer. Whether that is to click to the website to buy a certain pair of shoes, or whether that is to inform, in our sense, we have a lot of financial companies, to inform investors what the markets are doing at this stage. So really understanding as a creative what the outcome of the footage is, or the content that you're creating, to make sure that the company you serve goes from A to B, and your content that you create is the vehicle in which they do that. And what an incredible responsibility. So you must make sure that when you first engage with a client, to really listen to what they want, not leading the conversation, to listen, ask questions, get clarity, to understand what is the true reason why that you are around the table. What do they need from you? What is the final production that needs to be on the table for them to reach their goals? And in time, you will start building a network of clients, whether it is a local coffee shop, whether it is a local bank even, or a large food chain. Piece by piece, your clients are becoming recurring. You'll start understanding what their rhythms are quarterly, every half a year they need a certain something. And if you start understanding that, you will be able to schedule your content schedule accordingly for them. But if you reach out to a new client and there's nothing that you can show that you've done before, it's really tough for the client to decide to go for you. Now, I've recently gone through this exercise quite a few times when we started running Google Ads. And interestingly enough, a lot of the leads that we captured weren't really leads. It was just content creators or want-to-be content creators that wanted to work with us, work for us, or wanted us to promote their products and offer us revenue share. Now, your first engagement with any client, whether it's a production company or any client, is the online presence that you already have. And for that reason, anything like a profile pic, a logo, a website, all those things truly matter. It's the only way for someone else to judge whether you can do the job or not. And if there's no existence or any proof that you've actually done the work, it's really hard for the client to say, yes, we'll work with you. But if your profile pic is of low quality, we can barely see your face, you can't really convince me as a production company to take you on and tell me that your value offering is content creation if you can't even create content for yourself. So what steps would I suggest you take to really start entering the industry piece by piece and start building your relationship with clients? Well, luckily, you don't have to digitize tapes like I had to do years ago, but you do have a phone and you do have access to internet, which is a magical piece of work just in itself, right? Use your phone, learn how to edit, and start building content. Expect that your content will be bad at the start, but constantly focus on improving your skills until you can actually offer that content on your phone to shoot content for other smaller clients. And from that, I would purchase my first actual camera. So by just passively sending a WhatsApp to clients will not work at all in your favor. But actively creating content with what you already have is something that will take you one step closer. Not everybody has access to film school, but everybody has access to information. So many wonderful YouTube videos, reels, and content on the internet that you can learn from the best of the best in the world. So I motivate you. Don't just send a WhatsApp into the wild and hope for the best. The shotgun approach never works. The most powerful thing that you will have is not your phone, not your camera, but the relationships that you will be intentionally building, whether it's with marketing members of a company or whether it's with a founder of a company. But honing those relationships will be vital for you to exist as a content creator. And challenge yourself when you are not working with clients to constantly try new creative approaches to improve yourself and improve and define your creative language. This episode really is for the content creator at heart. We all start somewhere. My first content was terrible, but it was wonderful because it was the cornerstone of where we are at today. And this is now something that we can teach our team as they grow and even become better than I could even dream to be. So don't wait for someone to come to you and reach out. Don't WhatsApp someone, hey, give me an opportunity. Be active, show and tell.